you will feel a slight nudge in the base of your spine, and that's when people on board know that they've gone through the sound barrier. Our correspondent Jeremy Bowen is live at JFK for us. Jeremy, what's going to happen over the next few hours?
Well, at the moment what's happening is they're just moving the pier in to take the passengers off. There is an unusually large concentration of ground crew who've turned out, I think, to see Concorde arriving here for the last time. They'll replenish the aircraft, get it ready, and in not that many hours from now, in around just over about 13 hours from now, the plane will be taking off and returning to London on the last ever scheduled flight of Concorde.
Who's on board?
Well, BA actually being very coy about who's going to be on board. You can see Concorde down there at the moment. I'm just going to talk to you myself. It's a little bit less noisy here than it was when Concorde came in. They switched the engines off a bit. As I was just saying, BA had been a little bit coy about who's actually going to be on board in terms of celebs and VIPs. There are various press TV people who are going. They're promising various celebrities. Who knows who it's going to be? I suppose some of the Concorde regulars. I think Joan Collins has already announced that she's going to be on it.
And as far as the actual flight itself is concerned, a terribly emotional moment for anyone that's either flown on the aeroplane before, anyone who works in the airline business, or anyone who's ever had any aspirations to be on that particular aeroplane when it does what it does best, fly supersonically.
Yeah, I think it's going to be for the people on there. I was talking to a couple of the stewardesses who'll be on the final flight, and they said that when BA nominated them, they were called in, they thought, oh, have we done something wrong? And then they were told they were getting this great honour. They burst into tears. One of them had been working on Concorde since 1992. There's another stewardess who's been working on the aircraft since 1976 or 1977, really since flights to here to New York started. So I think for them it's going to be a very, quite an emotional moment. And even though they're putting quite a brave face on it in terms of what they do with the rest of their careers, I think inevitably everything else after this is going to be a bit of a letdown.
And what are the plans for tomorrow, Jeremy, when we have these three aeroplanes, these three Concordes, coming back to base, coming back to Heathrow?
Well, there'll be just one last Concorde jamboree at Heathrow where three Concordes, one of which will have been around Britain, one of which will have flown supersonically around the Bay of Biscay with invited guests on board, and then this last scheduled flight will arrive. There'll only be, I think, one or two fare-paying passengers. Everybody else has been invited by British Airways. The people who actually paid for a ticket are people who booked it months and months and months ago before the announcement came that Concorde was on the way out, and it just so happened they booked the final flight, so they'll be on it too. It's going to be, though, I think, a celebration and a bittersweet moment for those who've been involved with Concorde. They're already talking about a Concorde ball that they're planning to have on an annual basis to try and get people back together again.
Jeremy, thanks very much. More Concorde at 11 o'clock and, of course, from 3:30 tomorrow afternoon here with our special programming on BBC News 24. Last few minutes after its last commercial flight into the United States. Let's take a look at those pictures as Speedbird 001 was on its approach to JFK. We'll talk to our correspondent there for us tonight live is Stephen Evans. Stephen, it must be a poignant moment for anyone associated with this particular aeroplane in New York tonight.
Absolutely. Everybody in this terminal, Terminal 7 here, is just, they've got their faces pressed up against those windows, looking in awe at that aircraft. Alpha Golf is its name. It's actually a young aircraft. 1980, that particular aircraft came into commission. But of course, it's 27 years since this beautiful engineering feat has been flying. That aircraft will stay on that tarmac now for 12 hours overnight in this cold New York night. At 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, New York time, 12 o'clock your time, the doors will close on 100 people. Lots of journalists, lots of egos, I suppose, lots of celebrities, people associated with the aircraft. There will be a strange moving ceremony where two fire trucks will pour water in red, white and blue, the flags of Britain, of course, and the flags of the United States, and actually the flag of France, over that aircraft. Then at 7:30 New York time, it will take off for the last time ever it will be, the phrase is overused, the end of an era, but this really will be the end of an era. I don't think any of us in our time will see commercial supersonic flight again, so it is genuinely very, very moving.
And for those people who work for BA in New York, indeed people who work for BA worldwide, I suppose the thing about Concorde is you never quite get used to it. It never became ordinary because of what it was.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this wasn't just a B-list celebrity aircraft. This was the absolutely A-list celebrity aircraft. It is the aircraft on which the Queen Mother celebrated her 85th birthday, for example. It is the aircraft on which the Beatles sometimes led people, individual Beatles sometimes led the cabin in singing Beatles songs, and that kind of experience don't come often, I suspect. It is the aircraft on which Rupert Murdoch met George Soros. It is the aircraft of sheikhs and royals and those people in the stratosphere socially and the stratosphere in terms of aviation as well.
And take us through what's going to happen at our end tomorrow, Stephen, this choreography of 3 Concordes coming into Heathrow.
Absolutely. To tell you the truth, I'm not absolutely clear on what happens at your end. I can only tell you what happens at my end, really. And that is, we will have this moving ceremony where the people will get on there, they will no doubt look at each other and sit in their seats and wonder about the history that's going on. There will be the ceremony that I mentioned, and then it will take off. As I understand it, 3 aircraft will converge on Heathrow tomorrow and literally touch around, and there will be, I've got no doubt, traffic jams all around Heathrow as these planes converge. It is, as I say, a magnificent engineering feat, but a very, very expensive engineering feat. I suppose one of the very, very strange things about this is that we expect technological progress to go forward, that things go faster and faster and faster. But here we have this strange business where we see the future, and because of cost, it has been decided that the future should not happen quite yet. It's as though, I suppose, somebody invented the mobile phone in 1920, gave it out just to rich people, and then said, well, it won't work, we'll take it all back, we won't have mobile phones anymore. This was state of the art, but it will be taken out of service for cost reasons, really.
Stephen, thanks very much. As Stephen was saying, that trio of Concordes, they're due to land at London's Heathrow Terminal 4 tomorrow afternoon between about 3:30 and about 4:15, 4:30. We'll have a live special programme for you here on BBC News 24 from 3:30 in the afternoon.